Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Pig Site, and today we're here with Dr. Paul Yeske. He is a veterinarian with Swine Vet Center in Minnesota in the United States. Thanks for joining us, Paul.
Thanks for the opportunity to be with you this morning.
Appreciate that. And today we're going to talk about some of the big challenges that the swine industry has faced. So let's start off and talk a little bit. I'm going to have you talk a little bit about some of the greatest challenges for the betterment of the pig industry over the last 30 years.
There's certainly been a lot of change over that course of time and a lot of different things, but I think one of the biggest was the move to multiple site production, which branched out of some of the segregated early weaning that was done early on and seeing some of those benefits. And we moved to multiple site production that allowed us to do more depopulation, repopulation, upgrade sow herd health, allowed us to do different disease eliminations without necessarily having to do a depop, repop, and allowed farms to increase in size and get larger. And so definitely a significant change. The other one was a change in genetics. Historically, people did their own, and now they outsourced that genetics, and we saw a tremendous amount of genetic improvement over that time frame. And with that came along some changes as well in the structure and the health status of herds. And PRRS came along, unfortunately, to the
Right.
industry, and we saw PRRS come in. And as we learned more about PRRS, the breeding stock companies said we're going to get rid of it, and producers said we didn't want to buy it. And so they went ahead and eliminated PRRS from their multiplication. And as they eliminated PRRS from multiplication, many of them also eliminated mycoplasma, which was a good thing, but also caused some instability into the sow herds, and gave us some problems that we hadn't had in the past. So we had to work on stabilizing those herds, and that led us on into doing more mycoplasma eliminations as we saw some of these negative herds start up and how well those pigs performed. And so certainly changed a lot of how we deal with disease. Along the way there too, as that was happening, we'd been in a pseudorabies elimination, and that was finished up in the late 90s, and be able to eliminate a disease on a nationwide basis. And so that was a milestone, certainly for the industry, in being able to do that. And we learned more about biosecurity through that time frame. And the final piece of biosecurity was really adding the filtration that came along and gave us that last step of the biosecurity. Diagnostics also changed dramatically. When I first started practice, it would take a week to get results. And today the results are the same day. And I have to check my email really quickly because the clients are ahead of me knowing the results. And so the speed of diagnostics has increased dramatically. We've got a lot of new testing mechanisms we didn't have. Oral fluids, for example, has made testing much easier through the grow finish, and processing fluids on the farrowing farm. So we got a lot better testing. We can test more animals more easily and at a lower cost. And so those things have been tremendous tools in being able to answer those questions. And we've got better databases like the swine disease reporting system, giving us
Right.
accumulating all that information, giving us some of that data back to look at. And certainly one thing we can't forget is when PED came in, it showed us some new holes in biosecurity that we didn't realize we had before. And so helped us to get those taken care of. And interestingly enough, it looks like it's pushed TGE out of the industry as well. And that's something that I wouldn't necessarily have anticipated. So, and one more thing, just to finish up. The records, the records have been there for a long time, but certainly the more real-time records, getting that data in on a more timely basis and return back to the farm on a more timely basis has really helped to improve that record keeping and monitoring the performance.
Excellent. Well, Paul, thanks for that look back kind of at history and how the industry has shifted. Now let's talk about what you anticipate in the near future.
It's always difficult to predict the future, right? And
Right,
so
right.
the challenge is, what are things going to be? But I think one of the things we can see in the near future, and hopefully we'll have an answer relatively shortly, is some of the gene editing, and that's certainly something we hadn't thought about before, necessarily in fighting disease, but certainly being done a lot in human medicine. And I think we'll get the opportunity to do the same thing here in our industry. The other one I think is already underway, but I'm very excited about is the U.S. ship, the ability for producers to drive their own destiny in understanding some of these disease control programs, both the foreign animal diseases, not only the foreign animal diseases, but the endemic diseases that we deal with every day, and to use a mechanism to have a better control program that's based from producers and the industry. And so I think those are a couple things that are going to be new things that come to us here relatively shortly.
Very good. Well, thanks again, Paul, for all the information today.
Thanks for the opportunity to spend the time with you here, and we'll see what the future brings.
That's exactly right. Thanks again, Paul. This is Sarah Mikesell with the Pig Site.